Excellent. Is that everybody? Okay. Well, welcome to our Zoom call here, January 12th, 2026. This is the weekly meeting of the Hazel Park Amateur Radio Club ARDC Grant Weekly Update. This particular slide's a little bit out of date, but I just didn't have a chance to get updated here before we started the meeting. But what we want to talk about, I just want to say one thing, very, very interesting. I saw something on YouTube the other day. Yeah. So you can see this picture. You see how these wires are going into the circuit breaker box there. This is the reason that that cargo ship that rammed into the Francis Scott Key Bridge there and brought the bridge down. The reason the ship lost power was because one of the main wire going into the circuit breaker box when the ship was built was not done 100% correctly, and it is the cause and came loose, and that's the reason the ship lost power and the reason that it bumped into the bridge there. But anyway, that's a whole nother story. I just thought that was interesting. Okay, so all right. So we'll begin here. So the Hazel Park Amateur Radio Club ARDC Grant Weekly Update for January 12th. January 12th, 2026. 2026. Okay. So I know we've made a lot of progress over the last week, and I think that do we have pictures? I have some pictures I can put up. Um, so just stand by here a minute. So here we have an earlier picture as the rack was being built there at Starbase 5. Okay. And then I have one other picture to share that I was hoping that we could get an explanation of what it is exactly. Hold on. Let me find the other one there. So here we go. So we're getting an explanation of what we've got so far. And I think that is Andrew here? Andrew, are you there? No. Okay. Anyway, so Dave, maybe you could walk us through this and tell us what we have here and what the next steps are in terms of the cabling that needs to be done, and also gives a little explanation about the networking aspects of it and what we can and can't do and what you are looking forward to doing on the next steps. So, Dave, you want to walk us through this?
Sure. So up top, you can see the power supply. I think that's fairly self-explanatory. The next one down that we're looking at the back of,
Can I just ask a question just for the power supply? This is the power supply for
the amp,
what exactly? And what is it
the
like
amplifier.
a power supply just for the amplifier?
Yes.
Got it. Okay, thank you. Go
So
ahead.
12 volt DC power supply for the amplifier.
Okay, perfect.
The next one down, we're looking at the back of it. It is that is the Ubiquiti PDU power distribution unit. It is remote controllable 110 volt outlets. I want to say there's 14 of them, but don't hold me to that. I know there's more than 10. And then, so what's interesting and a key point here, you can see that network jack on the left-hand side plugged in. So that will be our feed from AT&T. And that unit, that PDU, will constantly monitor the internet. And if the internet goes out, we can have one of the power outlets automatically power cycle. So it'll switch off and then switch back on again. And then it will continue to do that every 10 minutes until the internet is restored. It'll just continue, just turn that outlet back on and off again. On the front of the device that we're not looking at, the internet comes out and then comes back in again to the firewall, which is the next unit down, the one that Joe is pointing to right there. So there's actually two RJ45 Ethernet cables that comes from the PDU to the firewall. One passes the internet through, and the other one is the IP control for the electrical outlets. Then we come out of the firewall and into the switch. This switch is PoE plus, so we have access to, so we can power PoE devices. You can buy top hats for that was perfectly timed for Raspberry Pis and stuff like that. So that is really excellent. We are running two VLANs. We're running a public side VLAN and a private side VLAN. The private side VLAN will only be accessible if you physically plug into the switch or if you connect to it over a VPN, which the repeater engineers will have access to the VPN. If you connect to the VPN, it will be as if you're up there, as if you are actually plugged into this switch, and you can access all of the devices on the network. The inside VLAN can access the outside VLAN. The outside VLAN cannot access the inside VLAN. So there's a drop rule in there. It just means that if anybody managed to get into something and went maliciously digging, they wouldn't be able to do anything because all the devices that are publicly facing are on the public side VLAN. So not a concern.
And so just to, as answer a question for when you refer to a VLAN, we're talking about like a tributary. In other words,
so a VLAN is a virtual private network. So basically, on these units, you can run multiple networks that will all have different subnets on their IP, and you can also set different rules for those different VLANs.
Right. So what you're saying is, so let's just, and I'm just using this as an example. Would this be correct? So let's say this section, these, what is it, 2, 4, 6, these 6 connectors are on one circuit. These 6 are on a different one. So these might be exposed to the outside internet versus this other group is only for inside on the other side of the firewall, and so on. So you're saying we have two, an inside and an outside circuitry. Okay, understood.
Yeah.
Okay. Does that sum it up there, I hope?
Yep, sure does.
Okay, what have we here?
So this is the PC that's going to manage the voting. So that will listen to the let's see if I can get it right. RTCM, Radio Thin Client Module, which is the unit above it. So the RTCM is going to be doing the excuse me. I'm sorry. This is Andrew's part now, so I'm
Yeah.
I'm doing my best. So the RTCM is used to instead of using the UHF receivers. So instead of having 4 UHF receivers, we have one RTCM, and the RTCM it sends the audio down into that PC that's laying on its side. The PC will do the voting. It'll send it back to the RTCM to decide which channel it is or which signal it's going to listen to, and then whichever one it listens to, it will send that out to the actual repeater. And then on the RTCM, there's a very simple repeater controller. So if we were to lose that PC, for example, if it was to go down for whatever reason, the RTCM will take over, and it will do the IDing, and it will control the repeater. But it doesn't have all of the additional features that the whole system has, but it means that we won't lose the entire thing.
Right, I see. So that's interesting that this is in effect it performs the voting functions. Is that correct?
Yeah, the PC is the voter, yes.
The PC is the voter. Okay, well, we've come a long way.
Yes.
Analog days. All right. Well, what do we have here? What is this contraption here at the top?
That's the RTCM. That's the
Oh,
thin
got
client.
it.
So that's
Yeah,
instead of the 4 UHF receivers.
got it. Got it.
And then
Got it.
that's also how we'll do All Star. Or
Okay.
sorry, is it All Star? No, Echo Link. Oh, whichever digital mode we're doing. Again, that was Andrew's side, so I'm not fully sure about what he
Right.
was working on. But whatever digital
Yeah.
modes we're doing will be
Oh,
managed by.
Andrew just joined us,
Okay.
by the
Yeah.
way. Oh, excellent, Andrew.
Oh,
Hey, how you doing there,
fantastic!
buddy?
Thank you. You can stop me yammering.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, Andrew. By the way, listen, you guys did a fabulous job here. It was just very heartwarming to hear all the great progress that went on Saturday. And so, Andrew, Dave was just walking us through. He walked us through all the networking, the router and the switch and the firewall and all that. But if you can give us a few details here on the voting and the other components, that would be very helpful.
Yeah. So the repeater is just below the shelf, just below the computer, right? So you have the amplifier, and then right above it's the repeater, and then right above it is the shelf with the computer and the RTCM. So that gray box right there on top of the computer is the RTCM, or radio thin client module, and that is connected to the back of the repeater through the that DB9 on the back of the RTCM to the auxiliary pins on the back of the repeater, and that takes power from the repeater, power and ground, the audio input as well as audio output, and then the push to talk and the PL detect circuits as well. So right now we still have to kind of tune it to the squelch to the repeater. That part wasn't working out of the box, but I didn't really expect it to. The way that it should work is the repeater will have the audio go to the RTCM. The RTCM will digitize that audio along with the RSSI, or signal strength, and then send it to the computer over the network. And then the computer will take all of the packets it receives from all of the RTCMs, and whatever one is the best signal strength, it'll just pass that back to this local RTCM to be transmitted out on the repeater. So basically, the audio path on this is it goes from the repeater to the RTCM analog, and then the RTCM digitizes it, sends it to the computer through the networking stuff above. The computer does whatever it needs to do with it, sends it back to the RTCM, where it's converted from digital back to audio, and then the RTCM will key up the repeater and cause it to transmit. So that part we did test and it works. I made the repeater or the All-Star ID. So it would key up the repeater and the repeater would transmit into the dummy load, the ID announcement. So the audio levels and all of that are good enough right now to where we could transmit from the computer and the repeater hears it at least. And then the only other thing kind of with the RTCM is that black box on the shelf to the left of the computer there. You kind of zoom in there. That's the GPS. And so that's needed. A GPS lock is needed to make this all work. Because it needs a accurate time so that when the RTCM is sending the packets back to the computer, that it knows when each packet was recorded. So if it's, there's one that's delayed or out of order or whatever, it could rearrange them all into the correct order. So that'll be at each site. The RTCM and the GPS will be at all the remote sites. No computer needed. We just need a way to get the RTCM onto the Ethernet network and then kind of go from there. So going back to voting and the controller and all of that, what used to be a separate voter and a separate controller is all now handled by the computer.
Wow. Okay, excellent. Do we have a sketch or some sort of block diagram or some kind of a layout yet, or are we still working on that? Because I'd like to. I guess not. All right, so that would be our next step there. And this is the repeater itself, is that right?
That's the amplifier. The repeater
Oh,
is
that's sorry.
is 1U rack above it.
See
You
the
probably-
one green light underneath the PC?
Oh, I
Yeah.
do. Oh, right here. So that's the, no kidding. Wow. Okay. Got it. Wow. So making progress, that's for sure. Okay. So with that, so the next step, I'm assuming then, is to start creating the cabling harnesses and so on, and then seeing what's on the back and the connectors, we can start planning out the cable layout there.
There's
Um,
actually little to no harnessing that needs to be created because there's only one multi-pin connector that Andrew already made, and then the rest of them are just Ethernet cables.
yeah. Yeah, it's a different setup these days. Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
there's no 18.2 or anything like that that needs to be run.
Yeah.
Should have received the pictures now.
Okay. I'll let you know. I don't have it next, although I will say the next meeting announcement for the Hazel Park Amateur Radio Club will be held on Wednesday, January the 14th at the Hazel Park Memorial Library. I did get that just now.
Yes, sir.
So, but okay, so while we're waiting for that, so our next step then is to finish up the cabling. And also I see the jumper cables that were made here. I'm assuming, you have you have a spool of cable and a crimper and the connectors and all that. That looks pretty.
I actually just bought premates,
Oh, you bought, oh, did you? Okay.
but I
All
do
right.
have a spool of shielded for if we have longer runs to mate. I do have a spool of shielded. The club owns a spool of shielded.
Yeah. But right when we first started the meeting here, I showed a picture. I saw something very interesting on the internet about the ship that ran into the bridge, the Francis Scott Key Bridge there in Baltimore. The reason it lost control and it lost all power is because, believe it or not, because of a wire that was in the circuit breaker box that wasn't installed properly and worked itself loose. And so I thought it was just an interesting example of these quick connectors. That makes it easy to construct, aren't always the most solid, the most reliable connections that are made. But the NTSC, I guess it just released that report, so keeping an eye on that. All
Well,
right.
all the stuff between the repeater and the RTCM and all of that are have retention mechanisms. So the GPS and the repeater are DB connectors, so they have the screw terminals. So, you plug it in and then you tighten the screws. So those are, mechanically connected. And then the Ethernet cables have that little tab. So
Right.
they kind of have to push down to pull out. So I think in terms of cabling, I think all of our stuff should be pretty robust.
Pretty good. Good. Okay. All right. Well, that's good. And I don't think we have to worry about crashing into any bridges either. But yeah, nice work.
We'll be earthquake proof also.
Wow, yeah. Yeah, I just came back from California and yeah, earthquake is certainly on everybody's mind there. Okay. All right.
So one thing to note, um, I have it. I don't have it on me. I have it written down somewhere, but I did do measurements with like the current layout for the RF cabling,
Okay.
and I think we need three um, cables. If I remember right, it's the um, amplifier to the circulator, which is N on both sides, the circulator to the duplexer, which should be N on both sides, and then the duplexer to the repeater receive, which would be an N on one side and a B and C on another.
Okay. And the circulator that we're putting in is like a big RF diode, right? It only allows RF energy to go in one direction. And we're putting it in to protect. Let me make sure I got this right. Tell me if this is correct. So the idea is, especially in a high RF environment that we're currently in that area with the TV stations and the radio station right across the street and all that. So, and at one point we had all those cell phone transmitters. But the idea is to prevent RF from backfeeding from the antenna, backfeeding into the transmitter amplifier, into the amplifier, and thereby causing mixing products, which would cause, interference and so on. So the idea is to keep this stray RF from entering the transmitter. Whereas the duplexers are specifically to keep the RF, the transmitter and the receive separate, so you could receive simultaneously as you're transmitting. Is that about right? Would you say, Andrew?
Yeah, it's kind of a belt and suspenders. So the circulator, it's more like a diode network where each port can only go to the port after it. So you can go one to two, two to three, or three to one. But on the circulator that we have, port three is essentially a dummy load, like a 50-watt dummy load or something like that. So what would happen is you take RF from one to two, which would be from the amplifier to the duplexer, and if there's anything that gets reflected from the duplexer or the antenna system or anything like that, or signals coming, back that way, those will all get redirected to the dummy load on port three. And
I
then
see.
because the dummy load's on port three, there should be nothing coming into port three, so that nothing would ever go out into port one. So yeah, it's pretty much like a diode network to where the RF from the amplifier will get passed through to the duplexer, but any RF coming back from the transmit side of the duplexer will kind of go to that dummy load and get dissipated instead
I
of,
see.
causing transmitter issues or intermod or what have you.
Exactly. Okay. I'm trying to pull up as you're speaking, and if I can get it in the next 10 seconds, I will. I have a diagram that, uh, here, how about this? All right, let me put this up. Okay, so the idea, let's see where the best one is. So, okay. So this is what I was thinking of. So what Andrew is saying is this is one type of, there's a circulator and an isolator. I'm not exactly sure what the difference is, but
Well, it's a isolator because the one of the terminals is tied to a dummy load. So it's in effect acts as an isolator.
oh, I see. I see. So what you're saying then, and let me get my fancy pointer out here. Um, just a second. Oops. Oh, what did I just do? Darn it. So, all right. Oh,
Go
okay.
back one picture, Joe. You just showed a similar picture of the
I,
circulator and isolator together. There you go, right there on the right. Nope.
right there. Yeah, you're right.
Yep.
Thanks, Al. Yeah, yeah. So here, so before, we'll come back to that in a second. So what Andrew is basically saying, so here's if the antenna port, any RF that goes into port number two only gets transferred to port number three. Any RF that goes in port number three only gets transferred to port number one, and anything that goes into port number one only gets transferred to port number two. So the point of that is that if this is the antenna, the transmitter would only go from the transmitter to the antenna, and then the RF in the antenna would only go to the receiver and would not go to to the the transmit. So that's one way. I guess that would be the circulator versus, and this is what they look like, versus something like this where the energy RF energy, oops, the RF energy that would come back in from the antenna, unwanted RF energy, stray RF, would come back into into the antenna port and would so this here, what you're saying is in this situation, what you're saying is that would be to port number three, so that any stray RF in that particular line would go to the dummy load and just it would uh, uh, essentially take that RF energy out of the circuit. And so in this configuration like this, okay, so that and then this would go to the transmitter, this would go to the antenna, like this is number one would go to the transmitter, this would go to the antenna, and any stray RF that would happen to come in, instead of going back into the transmitter where it could cause all sorts of issues, that stray RF goes into the isolate, goes into the this dummy load. So anyway, just wanted to show that real quick. So um, so on. What we're looking here, just in case you're wondering, this was some measurements that we took a couple years ago, and you could see here on the spectrum analyzer that you can see the difference between this point and this point is the difference between the transmit and receive, and then what is so this is the heliax and the antenna versus the duplexer, the heliax and the antenna, and you can see the effect that the duplexer actually has on improving the signal. But that's for another day. All right, let me get back to where we were here. Hold on. Okay. All right. Let me get the picture up. Okay, so our next steps. What our next steps are going to be with all this. So now it's just going to come down to the to getting the permanent cabling installed. And again, my experience has always been the cabling is the easy part. The programming, a totally different situation. So it'll be interesting once the final cabling gets hooked up. We'll probably spend three times as much time with the programming than with the cabling. Okay, okay. That's
Hello?
what. Yeah, go ahead.
I think we might want to ask the Marks, if they have any report or any news for us.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
I talked to Gary last Tuesday.
Oh, great.
Gary does not want us to leave.
Okay.
It was kind of surprised we're looking at leaving. And I guess the club has actually worked with him before with supplying ham operators for different functions that have taken place that he has been involved with. So that was one of the reasons he does not want it to go. He asked me to give him 2 weeks. So I'm giving him till next Tuesday. Then I will get back in touch with him and we'll see where we stand. He said he does not have a complete pool, but he does have some pool and he will use what he can. And when I hung up the phone with him, he was calling Dennis over at Prentice to voice his feelings.
Great. All right. Well, that's terrific. That's a huge move forward. Okay. All right. So we'll give him a little time there and get that squared away.
Well, it'd
Uh,
really be nice if we could do some support for activities of his too.
yes. Yeah, I would agree. I would agree, and it would be uh, great to get a couple of folks in that building there
Well,
into the club. Yeah.
part of what I mentioned to him was that we can offer classes for ham radio license.
Yeah.
And he is interested in potentially sending some of his staff through some of that too.
Oh, no kidding. No
Yeah.
kidding. Okay.
So there's a lot of potential there for partnerships down the road
Yeah.
to keep in there as long as we can stay there. We just
Yeah.
have to be in communications.
Yeah. 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 That was a brilliant move, Mark.
So his
Yeah.
comment to me was also, if this does come to fruition, then we need to have a MOU ready to go uh,
Right. Okay.
to delineate responsibilities.
Okay. And all right. So excellent. I can help out with that and
Now,
put that
I can
together.
talk offline more about it. I've talked to Mark and I've also talked to Len about it offline before.
Great. My guess would be that ARRL probably has a template for that sort of a thing. Um, and then we can add specifically our, what we're talking about. Did you happen to bring up about replacing the antenna brackets at the very least and the antenna course?
Well, what I told him was that we have a grant to replace and harden the antenna mountings in the antenna and to replace and update the repeater equipment in there. Okay, and then the one other thing I asked Gary, I said, if there's anything else we need, be it insurance or anything else, let us know. And he said he's not even going to approach the insurance.
Yeah, but we have to.
No,
Yeah.
he's not going to make
Uh,
that. He's not bringing it up. And the club does have some insurance through the ARRL too. So we're fine there right now.
okay. Okay. Okay.
Did
Oh,
you
this is
get a
great.
bid? Did you get a bid from the antenna man to see how much it'll cost to get the antenna up to the
Well,
top?
you don't want to do any of that stuff until you know you're going to be there.
Well, looks
Right.
like
Well, let me just
So
what I
give it a
think
week.
what you're talking about. I think what you're talking about is we did talk about that last week, and I did bring up these guys. Let me bring up the picture, and I did want to do that. I was at the last minute called out of town on a family situation there, so I just got back, and I'm not kidding. Like uh, not last night, but the night before, like 4 o'clock in the morning. So no, I haven't reached out to the antenna men yet, but we certainly can at least get a quote to give us an idea of what we're talking about. I'm trying to find the oh, here is that this, yeah, these guys here. This is what hold on. Oh, here. So this is what Les is talking about. And yeah, the time will come when we'll need to get some sort of an idea. And in addition, if we wanted to do the Starlink connection as well for internet, that's something to talk about. So we're not going to bring the two sides together quite yet, but I would like to reach out to them, and it was my intention on doing that last week, just to give them a call and make sure.
They did Jerry's tower, and they charged him $150 an hour at that time.
Wow. Yeah. Jerry NPI, you mean?
Yeah, NPI in the
W9
whole
NPI,
park.
yeah. Okay, that's great. And I did research in them in their background. If we needed to hire a company like this, we certainly could. So
Okay,
that's what that's about. But we would not, we want to keep this in line, and Mark will uh, you know uh, continue on being the interface for now. And when it comes to it, we will bring this into the equation as well. But we will need to be specific in terms, I mean, we're going to have to bring the antenna up the outside of the building so, those sorts of things. And these are the guys who know how to do that sort of stuff.
Joe.
Okay.
Joe,
Yeah.
Joe,
Oh,
I'd like to
go
acknowledge
ahead,
that
Ron.
Keith has joined us there, KD8ZSK. He's with the Wayne County emergency groups. He's got a lot of background. He has to be able to listen in. So I just want to acknowledge him as being listening in right now.
Oh,
Thank you.
excellent. Go
Yeah.
ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say thank you, Len. Thanks for inviting me along. We this is all very interesting. That's all I'm going to say. I don't want to interrupt.
Okay, great, Keith. Well, thank you. We're delighted that you're able to join us and share some of your experience. As you can see, we're like we're we're like the ragtag army that George Washington used across the Potomac there, and but we're getting the bits and pieces together. And we're very lucky. We have a lot of talent right here in the club, as you've
Yeah,
heard,
I agree.
and we're glad to be part of it. And we look forward to a closer working relationship with your organization as well. So this is going to be, I think, a real step forward,
Oh,
and not only upgrading the Dart, but giving us the opportunity to move into more of the cutting edge technologies.
that's great news because we've got a very diverse team in the Wayne County Amateur Radio Public Service Corps from many different areas. So maybe we can help too. One of our assistant AECs now is president of the GM Amateur Radio Club and trustee of their equipment on the Renaissance Center Tower.
Terrific, terrific.
Yep.
What
Operation.
question for Keith?
All
Go
right.
ahead, Len.
Is there? Did I hear that they sold the building, the Renaissance building? If so, is that going to make an issue about having the GM repeater on top?
Do we have time for this?
If you give us a 3-minute version, it is interesting because that's a critical area where the GM repeater is covering
Absolutely.
that section. Go ahead.
Okay, so what I was going to say is that what GM is doing is GM's moving to another building. That building has not approached the GM Amateur Radio Club and said, hey, you have to move. I don't know how many of you have been on the roof. I have. We have a couple of small antennas on the roof. The building itself, the roof is covered with antennas and cameras, and you can probably imagine why there's cameras there, right? So it would be a big operation, I think, to try and move all those people off. So right now, one of the things we've done with the ARPSC for Wayne County and all of District 2 is we've made certain that we make use out of 443.075 for all of our simulated emergency tests, all our EOC tests, and those kinds of things to keep demonstrating how important that location and that repeater system is to our activities and services that we provide. And in fact, there'll be a new net starting up on Wednesday this week on 443.075 at 7 p.m. It'll be the District 2 for all 6 counties. And it's to demonstrate that we can reach St. Clair, Macomb, Oakland. We can reach, of course, Wayne County, but I was also trying to think of Washtenaw and even Monroe counties with that repeater. So many people are trying to make certain that it's a part of the overall plan for Southeast Michigan. And that's my summary.
Oh, perfect. Great, great, great. Well, thank you for that and for all the work that you guys do. I know with the repeater crawl and all that, I listen in occasionally. It's really a terrific way to keep everything in line there.
We're lucky. So many new people drifting in and out, and so many people going back to their manuals to make adjustments to the radio. It's hilarious.
Right. So, and I'll just put this up quick if I can here. Let's see. Gotta take this one down. And then, oops. Oh, now I lost it here. I have a footprint just that you might find interesting. And hold on, here it is. Got it. This is a footprint that we've been using. We're not entirely sure where this footprint came from, although I think I know. And it's a number of years old, but it appears to be relatively accurate in terms of field reports and where people are and where we can be seen, where our operation can be seen. So we'd be like right there in the center here, and you can see I put in these markings a little bit here so we can get sort of an idea. So the GM repeater, which would cover this area basically around here, and then we're up there. So one of our goals eventually is to be able to fill in this area here in upper Oakland County, northwest corner of Oakland County, and the northern part of Macomb County. So we'll see with our new antenna, when the new antenna goes up, we'll take some readings and especially the work that your team does will be very, very helpful in determining how well the new coverage area is. So
good. And I tell everybody on the repeater crawl, we take requests. So
okay.
if you want like an A/B, 1 week,
Yeah.
We have the group run through, and then a week or two later, we run through after a change was made. You can look at the results. It's all a public spreadsheet.
Oh yeah, that would be absolutely fabulous. We would like to document it before, which you have because I know you've been doing that, and then compare it to the new antenna. In a perfect world, what I'm hoping we'll be able to do is the new antenna, we would like to be able to mount it in a little different position than the existing antenna. And let me just show you what I'm talking about there, if I can pull this up. We want to be able to, hold on, let me see. I have a picture of the roof antennas here somewhere. I don't seem to have it open here, but yeah. Just bear with me, and I'm looking. I have all these slides, and in the beginning, the slides were very, very helpful, but now there's so many of them, it's a little bit difficult to pull them up. Oh, here's something. Would this help be? No, that's not exactly right either. A picture of an external antenna that I could just show real quick. Let me see if I could just come up with this or not. Well, maybe not, but all right. I have one other opportunity to bring up that picture so we can talk about we can talk about this here. Let's see if this. Oh, maybe not. Maybe not.
Hey,
All right.
Joe,
Yeah. Yeah.
can I go ahead and take a couple minutes here myself?
Yes, please. Okay, go ahead. And while you're doing that, then I'll try to find the
Okay.
photo. Please go ahead. Yeah.
And hello to Keith. Good seeing you again, Keith, and actually seeing you and not hearing you. You're looking
Thanks,
good.
Al.
Love your background.
All right.
Um,
Thank you, Al. Good to
well, Joe, I'm happy that delegating last week we actually made an accomplishment with Mark reaching out to his friend at the Federation, and that's probably hopefully going to save us a lot of time and aggravation trying to relocate and come up with other places for the repeater. So that is a great start, and I think it's very important in our next step because Joe, right now we're getting close to getting ready to install something. So having a home for it is probably the next need to find out how much we're going to need to allocate out of our remaining budget with the grant. So I think, Joe, on your docket, maybe you can. I know last week, can you pull up the last slide from last week? We kind of made a list of what we were going to do this week.
Yeah.
And I don't know if any of it has been done yet besides working on the repeater at the repeater site. And let's try to, in the future, reference to Starbase 15 or where the repeater build is happening. Let's just refer to it as the repeater site. So whether it's in location A, location B, we'll know the location, and all we have to do is we'll meet you at the repeater site. So whether it's at the actual final location or in someone's backyard, we'll know where the repeater site is. So we can just, use that as terminology instead of broadcasting or over the air where we're going to be. So with that, I think it's very important that we figure out how much, if the Federation requires us to use a commercial contractor with installation liabilities and insurances if we don't have it covered. Mark mentioned that Gary said he wasn't going to touch on that subject. So if we could save an ample amount of money by us doing it ourselves, right? I would like to, perhaps let's put together a team right now that can work on that avenue as to how we raise the antenna, how would we mount it, what cost might it take? Would we need special rigging? Would we need a crane? The logistics, how are we going to transport the antenna there? Is there going to be a cost for that? We need to come up and calculate the cost for all these things individually. Are we going to need to buy rope if we're going to do it? Are we going to need to buy pulleys if we do it? So, Joe, if you don't mind, I'd like to, have a team formed. I think there was one originally when this project started, and I'd love to have Hugh take lead on, the logistics of moving the antenna and getting the antenna up there, mounting the antenna. I do know the mounts that you're talking about. Yes, perhaps all we need is a couple channel angle pieces of angle iron with a channel in it to run from those two strut mounts that you had there to put some U-bolts through the mast of the new antenna. But let's try to keep this thing rolling, and maybe we can come up with a cost analysis. If we can do it and save a lot of money, we can use that money to put forward to a UHF DMR repeater that's sole, purposes for DMR locally. Now, I don't use DMR. I know some of you guys do, but I know from listening to everybody, there is like a big DMR hole, and it's in this location right here. If we could provide the DMR repeater for the whole southern half of southeast Michigan, it can, all star and link into the other DMR networks as needed on UHF. So if we can consolidate anything, out of what we have remainder, maybe we can provide to ARDC of all the work that we've done, show them documentation, show them the photographs, show them these meetings that we're not pocketing this money. The money's actually going toward digital communications. And if we can maybe get another few $1,000s, we could have a whole nother UHF system set up. Now, right now, I think we'd probably be a little bit tight just because of the fact of the UHF duplexers. I think we would need another set of UHF duplexers and the UHF repeater, the SLR 5700, a new power amplifier, a new power supply, and all the bells and whistles would be the exact same price that we got this one for. So the only thing we would need at that point would probably be either an isolator, circulator, or just duplexers. The old antenna we could probably get away with right now if we sistered these two systems up side by side at the Federation, one on VHF, one on UHF. We could use the old antenna for now. I don't think we need to buy a $2,000 UHF antenna. Although, we could probably have our friend out west that we got our original equipment through, maybe supply us with a quote for everything. He might be able to give us a really good price on a complete system, getting everything from him. Then we'll have a DMR system for UHF. We'll have the Motorola analog for VHF, and we'd be good to go. But I think we really need to concentrate on what we got left. How can we consolidate our needs? And, if we can save money by erecting our antenna ourselves, I think that'd be a lifesaver. Couple other things I did mention before. We need to maybe think about the backup power for the repeater, whether or not we need to purchase any LiPo batteries for the backup operation. Do we want to consider looking now also as to backup in case the network goes down? On Saturday, we talked about the vector antennas, and that depends on distance and obstruction, line of sight obstruction. We also talked about Starlink. Each receive site would have to have their own Starlink account, and I think it's like at least $65 a month for Starlink. So each receive site would be $65, a month for each site at least. That's minimum. I haven't really dug in too deep. And Dave did mention another option that I had no idea about, and it's fiber optics. I guess we can rent or lease a fiber optic line from one site to the next site and kind of daisy chain them around. So we'll have, even if the internet went down, we still have access over fiber optics. So that's another avenue that we could take for backup for the remote sites. Top of the list last week, Joe, was transferring the All-Star Note account and getting that information. Did you supply that information to Dave or Andrew so they can take control of the All-Star account and provide the node numbers for the node number for the repeater and also for the QSL card? I'd like to finish off the QSL card because now there's another urgency perhaps for the QSL card that during the net last night, John Teagarden mentioned, as I suggested perhaps, and I guess you guys might be talking about it, I don't know, Net 3000. Our upcoming 3000 net is coming up on June 7th. So that's going to be our 3000th net. So I'm coming up with a catchy name, Net 3000, Net 3K. And I'd like to do something special for it. And I honestly, we could promote it. Perhaps we could have a raffle. Maybe we could purchase a radio, raffle off a radio. If someone checks in to see if they won. John Teagarden also mentioned that I guess in the past he also sent QSL cards to everybody that checked in to the special net. So we could do something like that if we have these QSL cards printed in a timely manner. And what else we could do at that point, the next topic was the asset tags for all our equipment.
Oh, right.
We had talked about getting the asset tags ordered, and I talked to Bob last night on the pre-net, and I still haven't gotten a response back from him. So I don't know if those tags were ordered. If I get them in here, I can make up serial number bar tags, barcodes, and tags for all our equipment. So everything is serial number, and we can categorize it and have it cross-referenced into the Google spreadsheet on our Google Drive. We can update every time we do maintenance to it. We could probably just scan it with your phone, boom, it goes into it, you type in what you did, and it uploads it into the Google Drive. So the second reason for that asset tag is they're metallic. And I could print out special little like an insignia or something for the Net 3000 check-in, and we could put that like a gold seal, a net seal on on the QSL card with personalization to the people that checked into the net. So I'd like to try to gimmick, let's promote this net, let's promote the dart, let's get all our balls and pins in an order so we can knock them all down. So I don't know. I think he was still online, so I don't know if it's possible, if he might already have something. I know it might be a little bit old, but I'm sure he might have an idea. Joe, would you have any reluctancy in letting Hugh go ahead and take lead on any kind of installation that we can do as a club, instead of having to, hopefully we don't have to hire someone, a commercial independent company. They're going to charge us an arm and a leg.
Right, right.
So if we can delegate that side to Hugh, he can maybe get something rolling and have something ready. So that way, as things progress, we're not sitting here and spinning our wheels, and we can, let's move on to the next task at hand and get that darn repeater up there where it needs to be.
Yeah.
Oh, and secondly, hang on. And secondly, fifthly, Len, while you're here, I'm curious. The repeater, the cabinet, and everything is in your garage, and I know Andrew and I think some of us are talking. Oh yeah, we're talking about maybe trying to clean up the scuff marks on the side of it. Len, I don't know. Do you think you might have time to maybe take some cleaning something to it, maybe, and clean it up? If not, we'll have to, make time when everyone's working on it, and it's kind of inconvenient. It's a small piece of equipment, right? It's only 2x2x6, so more than a couple guys around that thing at a time is cumbersome. You can't really get anything done. So I don't know, Len, if perhaps, I'm not asking you to do it. If you can, that'd be great. If not, next time I come over, I'll bring some cleaning supplies, and we'll try to clean that thing up. But
Scotch pad or something like that. I'll see what I can do, Al.
I'll
see what I can do.
That would be great. And secondly,
Don't
regarding
use the Scotch pad.
Don't use Scotch pad, right?
Do
No, not
not.
Scotch pad. No.
No.
And Joe, and
I'll
curious.
talk to you.
Yeah, I'm curious regarding the cabinets. I know Hugh and Mike VPC, took their time and their schedule and drove all the way up there to bring these cabinets down to down to the repeater site, right? Can I catch myself? And I feel for Hugh because he was never reimbursed anything for gas. And I'm curious
don't worry about that. That's my contribution.
Are you sure, Hugh? Because we could probably have them come out of the grant.
It was a 13-hour trip too.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a major commitment, and thank you, Al, for bringing that up, and definitely Hugh and I will talk offline. Let me just talk about a few things that you said here. All right, so starting back to the beginning, so the DMR hole. So the one thing just to think about that is once we do get things up and running, all right, what is the relationship that we're going to not relationship, but what is the functionality? I know this repeater can do DMR and it also does analog. Now, one of the advantages of being analog, as we learned, unfortunately during 9/11, is that the good thing about analog, the drawback amongst digital is not everybody has a DMR handheld, so that in a real emergency, if we're analog, everybody can transmit analog. So we have to come up, and it's more of an operational thing than a technical issue on that relationship that we have between the DMR and the analog. So we'll talk about that further. Regarding battery backup, this particular location, because it's senior living and they have oxygen equipment and other health equipment, the whole building is on generator power. So I think that we're pretty good there, but we do need to confirm that the outlet that we're actually plugged into is on the generator, but I'm pretty sure that it is. Starlink. Yeah. So my question is there special consideration that's given for first responder organizations? And I know that there was some talk, we talked about it last week. I know Larry, KE8LXA, Larry had talked about the first network, and it's a network of first responders that they use in emergencies, and whether we would qualify for that, and if not, can we work a partnership with the Civil Air Patrol there at City Airport for getting onto that network. So that's another good point that you raised, Al. Fiber optics, I've had experience with that. That's above our pay grade, fiber optics. Those are extremely expensive. And the reason is because of one fiber optic cable can carry, as you know, thousands of signals. So the phone company, being a commercial company, is very generous when it comes to handing out invoices for that type of a service. The All-Star node. Now, I have to remember, I know that, yes, after our last phone call, I sent out a flurry of emails about about the All-Star node. And quite honestly, I was thrown for a loop. We had a family emergency, and all bets were out the window. So I had to go look. But I emailed somebody. So I'll follow up on that, Al, and I'll let you know right away. But I think we do have the node number.
Yeah, well, what Andrew and Dave both recommended, and what I think is also important, is to have they already created, I guess, a generic sort of a club email address, so we can use it for all these kind of circumstances when we need it to access certain software or any kind of programs like All-Star, that it's not just tied to one person's email account. So that way, anyone that's working on the repeater and needs to work on it can have access to the email account. So what I don't know if it's Andrew or Dave, they recommend what they want you to do, Joe, is to provide them with your email and log on information to the
Yes.
All-Star account and let them change it.
And I did.
So,
I did. This
yeah.
this is the screen that we put up last week, so we know
Yeah.
we're in. And I have to review that.
And if you look down at the bottom, it talks about requesting a node number for your server.
yeah,
And you have
what's
to, there
the
you go. That's where I highlighted it at, right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
down there
yeah.
on the bottom highlight is what needs to be done yet. So we need to request that node number for our server. And that's what Andrew has. He has all that information.
Right.
So if we can just let him or even Dave do it.
I saw an email. Somebody had said, where did that email come from? I just saw it recently that
So
Dave was it?
I've created like a email for all of the networking equipment. And the suggestion was made that we all connect the All-Star equipment to the same email address and that it would be a master email address.
Yes, that would
So I
be
provided you with the email and the password for it, but in the same email, that a should
Dave.
be a need to know.
Yeah, Dave, you're breaking up quite a bit, but yes, that's correct. So just again, just summarize real quickly. You dropped out, but you got. Did you? Do we have the actual number in our hand yet, or not? Dave, you there?
Sorry, I switched back to the Wi-Fi. What did you say?
Yeah. So do we have the actual node number yet, or are we still need to log on to this? Because I agree with you 100% that there should be a master email address that it's attached to. I totally support that idea. Uh, and I know that we looked at this. Has anybody followed up on this, or is this is something I think I was supposed to do, and then I took off for California? Um, okay, so let me put that on my list there. I'll follow up on that and I'll get some answers. But we did
Hang
have
on,
it.
Dave, did you want Joe to give you his access to the All-Star account and then you can just take it over from there? Or
Yeah,
do you want Joe to follow up and try to get this All-Star node for you? I think maybe
yeah, I
Dave
think
dropped
Dave.
out.
Yeah, Dave may have dropped off, but I'll follow up with
Okay.
Dave on that. Okay, thanks for bringing that up.
Okay, sorry, I just came back there. I'm sorry. The node number is to do with Andrew. So I just have the email address. I shared the email with you and Andrew. So if you work with Andrew on the node number, I'm not sure what that is or what needs to be done for it. But I provided you and Andrew the username and the password for the email address.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, very good, very good. Thank you, David.
Hey, Dave, can you go ahead and send it to him again? I don't know if Joe has it readily available. So maybe if Joe gets it at the top of his inbox, so
Yep. I can do
he'll be
that. No
more apt
problem.
to taking care of it, right, Joe?
Terrific. Yeah, thanks.
All
That
right.
would be. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, that way
Thank
you don't have to dig for something and forget what you're looking for. I know I do that all the time.
Yeah, and it only gets worse as time goes on, right? All right. Listen, that net 3,000 for the QSL card, what a great idea. Really, I mean, it really is, it's quite exceptional, not only for our club, but think about it. I mean, the 3,000th net, and that's this July, right? July
June,
20,
I think it's June 7th,
June or,
actually.
oh, is it? Okay,
I'm pretty
something
sure it's
like
June
that.
7th. Don't quote me. It's in June, though. Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So
for
we'll find,
2000, we did that and we sent out, at that time, there was only three net control operators, Lee, Bob, and me. And, we sent out QSL cards with our picture on them. We all, I still have one somewhere.
I
yeah,
remember that.
that would be a great tribute, especially to all the net control operators who have done just a fabulous job over the years. So great idea. I think
We
that
have
that
five now, so that's a vast improvement.
I got five. Well, okay. Well, all right. Excellent. Asset tags. I did send a text to Bob about the asset tags, and I mentioned to him that you and I had talked about this, and that yes, we should definitely move ahead with the asset tags for numerous reasons. One, for inventory. Two, so that we can show the ARDC, what equipment that grant, purchased for us, and just for general management. But yeah, the asset tags too. I'm putting on my list here for the follow-up. Uh, and yeah, they're Avery, right? The Avery tags you're talking about. Is that right?
Yeah, they're special. They're called asset tags. They have two styles. One's regular sticky white, and the other one's sticky metallic, like a metallic, probably a foil. I don't know, like a foil print, basically,
Right.
or a foil
Can,
sticker. I guess they're
can,
really adhesive. They got, probably like a permanent sticker, I would imagine.
can
You would
you?
really have to scrape it off, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And the other thing too is you put the asset tag on, and we can also use an engraver to engrave the asset tag number, um, should that ever need be necessary, but it's not a bad idea. Um, so yeah, so the asset tags, good, good. And what else were you talking about? I forgot
Okay, and you're
now.
gonna get a couple quotes, commercial quotes, just in
Yes,
case that we can't do it ourselves.
yeah,
So that
yeah.
way, because I'd like to know soon how much. It looks like Lester's holding something up. I don't know.
That's
Are
the
those the
asset
assets?
tags.
Really? Okay. Yeah,
Oh,
something like
great.
that.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, thanks, Les. Yeah,
Well, that way
great.
we'll know, what our budget is. How think we have what, like 74 left, 7,400. And, I don't think there's too much more that needs to be purchased right now, besides
Right.
having to spend money for either a commercial installation or whatever rigging and supplies that we would need. And that's why I think we need to have both avenues,
You're gonna need a crane.
investigated, get a quote for both ways, and then we'll be able to attack that direction and know what direction we'll need to go in. Hopefully after next week. It's too bad it's after on Tuesday, not the Monday before or something, because then we'll be off another week after that. Um, I'd like to, I'd like to see us get another repeater out of this. I really would. I would like to see us get a UHF DMR repeater,
Right.
and if we're going in that route, we can go ahead and apply for a frequency pair, because that's going to take some
Oh.
time in itself.
Right.
So,
Right.
we want to kind of keep the stuff planned and not just keep kicking it around, around in a circle. We want to try to get a plan and stick to it. So I
Okay.
think if you can go ahead and work on the logistical aspects and cost analysis and all that for us doing everything, within our club, we'll have that side covered. You can work on the quote for commercial, and then supply Andrew with the node, with the email information, so he can take care of the final all-star node necessities, and then that way he can supply me with the node number, and I can incorporate them on the QSL cards, and then we can start getting quotes for QSL card printing.
Yep.
So
Yep.
that's why we know it's like a flow, right? We want to
Right.
keep everything flowing. We don't want to
Right.
we don't want to just have the levee bust open and all the water flow out into this big reservoir and nothing's draining. So we got to try to
Yeah.
keep it all moving. So I think it's good we keep these teams moving like this, and Mark can work on his friend Gary at the Federation, so that front's taken care of, and then we can get an idea, an idea of how much money we got left on the account and what we need to use it for. And if we can
Okay.
stretch it out and get another repeater out of it, this would be great. How often does an amateur radio club get one new Motorola repeater, let alone two?
Right. Right. Yeah, we're very fortunate. I mean, really, and the credit goes out to Andrew and also Mike at AWU, who wrote the initial grant, and then Andrew, who took the ball across the goal line there and made a touchdown for us. So, yep, let's keep the momentum rolling. All right. Does anybody have anything else that we want to talk about here?
KE4ZYQ with a brief comment.
Yes, go ahead, Joe. Go ahead.
Well, first of all, as a non-member and not involved with all the stuff you guys are talking about tonight, let alone any other night, I want to say a deep, heartfelt thank you for all the trouble, time, money, expense, everything that you guys do, each and every one, I don't care who, to give the local area a repeater and communications that you do. It is not taken for granted by this fellow. I'll speak for myself. And I want to give a heartfelt thank you and congratulations for all you do. It's not for naught. And it is very well, like I said, very much deeply appreciated. And I wanted to say that tonight. So thank you.
Well, Joe, you're very welcome, and it's always terrific to hear you on the repeater. And we're so happy that you're part of our club and working together, and so thanks for that. And yes, I will say that the team who's pulled this together, they've done a terrific job. And we're going to keep this moving forward, and pretty soon, who knows, we'll put up the new antenna, and hopefully we'll have some coverage there in the northwest corner of Oakland County.
Yeah, one last thing, if I might say real briefly.
Sure.
And that is, if I could do and be involved with your repeater club and the involvement, whether physically or otherwise, I would. It actually bothers me that I can't do more in life itself generally, not to get any sympathy or empathy or complaints. but I wish I could do more. And if I could, I would. So just
And
an FYI.
well, we very much appreciate that. Thank you. Thank that. And on behalf of everybody who's worked so hard, much harder than I, on this project, that's really great to hear. It's really, really good to hear. Thanks. Okay.
Just
Okay.
one thing
Larry?
on my
Yeah,
part.
go ahead, Larry. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry I was late. I was out looking for a car for my daughter, and it took a little bit longer than I anticipated. That was number one. Number two, if you remember last week, one of the things that I said was when you have a catastrophe, the initial word is correct. And for the first couple hours, everything after that is suspect. And lo and behold, last week, would we have somebody shot somebody and the first report was correct? And they still haven't figured out what the second one ought to be. So that just illustrates what I was saying earlier, that we set up a AOC, then we have to filter what goes out and make sure that what we're giving out is accurate. We can't look like amateurs, even though we are.
Yeah.
At what we do, we have to look professional and be professional. And
Right.
that's the end of what I got to say for that. I'll do some more looking into the other net. Civil Air Patrol ought to be back here Wednesday, in fact. So we'll
Okay.
see. Joe, does your class start tomorrow?
It it actually started last week, but I wasn't here.
Yeah.
I had a
Okay.
family emergency, but yes, it does. I'll be there tomorrow at 7:30. I think I sent out notices. I believe you may have gotten one. If not, I can resend it.
Okay.
But yeah, 7:30. It's the same credentials from last time as well. But that's a good point. Just to let everybody know, the extra class will begin tomorrow and continue on. And uh, uh, yeah. So thanks for bringing that up. I totally forgot about
Yeah.
it, actually.
Anything for
Okay.
the boys in blue.
Yeah. Yeah. But check your email.
Okay, will do.
believe you. Yeah. Great. Okay. Anybody? Anything else? If not, we will say
I think
73.
You got it?
Oh, there it is. There it is. Very nice. Can you zoom in?
I think that's you.
you have to zoom in on your own computer.
Oh, I have to zoom in. Oh, got it. Yeah.
I think
Of
that's
course.
your
Yeah, hold on. I get it. I get it. I get it. I get it. Well,
Back side, you can see the two fans on the back of the power supply on top up there.
right.
And
And a
you
six
see the
cylinder
fan
at
on
the
the back of
bottom.
the amplifier.
right. Oh, good. I'm just taking a quick shot of this for now, and then when I get the original, just so I can make a. Oh, Len.
Yeah.
Okay. I just got it, Len.
Good.
There you go.
It looks like the repeater's not in here. Repeater's not itself is not installed in here for
Yeah.
some reason.
Yeah. This is
The better of the shelf.
an earlier version. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Well,
this is.
Oh wait, that's Joe's. It says this is we're sharing Joe's screen right now. Joe put it up. Joe shared.
That
Oh, is
was
that
the
me?
Well,
one.
I gave it
That,
to him earlier.
yeah,
I'm
that was the
zooming
one
in.
Len saved.
Do you
Joe is
see?
sharing the screen right now.
I am sharing, right?
No, that's Joe. I'm sorry.
Okay, hold on. Stand by.
K4ZYQ.
That's the one Len sent to me earlier. I
Yeah,
thought that was the
that's
back of the
what's up
unit.
on the screen right now is your picture. You
It
shared it,
is
right,
a
Joe?
fact.
Yeah.
Oh, I think
Yes.
I just took it away. Do
Yeah.
you see
No,
the zoom in?
ZYQ is still sharing it. Yeah, go back to a nice galley view. We don't need to. Got everybody on the
Yeah.
screen now.
Oh,
Whoop. No, you started sharing again, Joe, so that took that away.
I did. I did. I did.
Okay.
All right. Anyway, so thanks for that. And everybody, thanks for logging in here and really great work for with everybody involved there. I know Andrew had to drop off, but this is excellent. Keith, thanks for joining, and Joe, thanks for joining. KE4ZYQ, good to see you, and everybody. So take care, 73. Stay warm.